Real English for your daily life.
Master English together.
Have you ever caught yourself just mindlessly scrolling and suddenly hours have passed? You look up and wonder, wait, what am I even chasing here?
Oh, absolutely. I've been there more times than I can count. You finish a long day at work hoping to relax, but end up stuck in this endless scroll and somehow feel emptier than before.
Exactly. This episode is perfect if you felt trapped in that loop, constantly pulled into your phone, yet never really feeling connected. This is a B1 level episode, ideal for intermediate English learners. But beginners, you're welcome too.
Here's the real question. Why does this happen so often? Why do we get stuck scrolling when deep down we want something more meaningful? Well, it turns out it's more than just a bad habit.
Right. We've dived into some fascinating ideas, like the attention restoration theory and the contextual self-psychological model. Basically, our brains need real rest and real connection to feel recharged and whole.
And there is one thing we discover that really helps break that digital loop. But before we get to that, quick question for you listeners. How many minutes do you think you actually spend scrolling on your phone every day? Drop your best guess in the next 3 seconds.
Really, think about it. 5, 10, 30 minutes? Or more? It's probably more than we'd like to admit.
Later in the episode, we'll teach you 5 powerful words to talk about this exact problem. Stay until the end for our word tour. You don't want to miss it.
I bet many of you are listening while scrolling right now, maybe on your commute or just before bed. We see you.
And later, we'll also give you one tiny trick you can try tonight to actually start detaching from your screen. But first, let's understand why this scrolling habit gets so sticky.
Because it's not about lack of willpower. The problem is deeper. It's about how our brain's wired to chase constant stimulation while ignoring what really matters.
That conflict, the pull of the screen versus your inner voice, creates anxiety and emptiness. You get caught in a loop, feeling stuck but also powerless to stop.
So if you're feeling that mix of frustration and confusion, know you're not alone. This episode is here to help you find a path back to real meaning, back to feeling connected with yourself and the world.
And the first step to that begins with recognizing the problem. Let's dive deep.
So Noah, picture this. It's 8 p.m. You've just sat down to relax after a long day. You pick up your phone and start scrolling. At first you think, just 5 minutes. But then, you find yourself still scrolling an hour later. You feel your heart racing a bit, your eyes tired, and maybe even your fingers freezing on the screen.
Yeah, that freezing feeling is real. It's like your body is stuck, but your brain keeps chasing the next post or video. That endless scroll is exactly what we call a loop. A repeated sequence that messes with your focus and leaves you feeling stuck.
And that loop is tricky because it's not just about scrolling, it's emotional too. Sometimes when people are stressed or lonely, they scroll to distract themselves. But instead of feeling better, the constant information and notifications create this heavy mental clutter.
Exactly. I remember one night I was scrolling through social media to relax after a stressful work meeting. But as I scrolled, my thoughts actually spiraled. I started doubting myself. Am I doing enough? Should I be more productive? Why does everyone else's life look so perfect?
That feeling is common. You look at others' highlight reels and start questioning your own meaning or goals. Your brain doesn't just scroll content. It scrolls through worries and comparisons. That's when detaching becomes so important.
Detach is a powerful word. It means to separate yourself emotionally or physically from something that's pulling you down. But with phones, It's hard to detach because they're designed to grab your attention, keep you hooked with endless content.
True. And when you can't detach, your brain doesn't get a chance to recharge. The attention restoration theory tells us that our mental energy can only last so long. We need breaks where we focus on calming, engaging with nature, or simply being present.
I guess that's why a walk outside feels so refreshing. You're not scrolling. You're tuned in to real sights and sounds. Your senses wake up and your brain switches from autopilot to active mode.
Right. But most evenings, instead of recharging, many people spend hours scrolling. It's like the screen becomes a substitute for real meaning. But deep down, that's empty. You feel more disconnected from yourself, from others, and even from the world around you.
That disconnect relates to the psychological model called contextual self, the idea that our sense of self is tied to the situations and environments we engage with. If our environment is mostly a screen, our self narrows to whatever pops up on it. But it's not the full story.
It's like you're living inside a tiny box on your phone screen instead of the whole world outside. And when you try to think about your goals or values, that box feels so noisy it's hard to hear yourself.
Yeah, and that's what traps many in the scroll loop. You want to break free but don't know how. The phone keeps pulling you back. Emotions like anxiety and loneliness get worse, but you still can't stop scrolling.
It's heartbreaking how many people feel powerless here. They know they should do something more meaningful, yet each night they fall into the same pattern of endless scroll. They feel like they're wasting time, but also can't find another way to fill the emptiness.
Let me try something. Imagine a scene. I'm texting a friend late at night and I say, I just can't stop scrolling. Feels like I'm trapped in this loop and it's draining me, too.
Hold on, Noah. That's a good start, but could sound more natural in everyday speech. Saying trapped in this loop is great, but it's draining me feels a bit formal for texting. A more native way might be, I keep scrolling and can't get out of it, it's so exhausting. Or, I'm stuck scrolling again and it's really wearing me down.
Oh, I see. So I'm using simpler, more conversational phrases that show emotion clearly.
Exactly. Those phrases match real talk, honest, and meaningful conversation. You want to be open about your feelings, but keep it casual and clear.
Okay, how about this? I'm stuck scrolling again, and it's really wearing me down.
Spot on. Now it sounds like something you text a close friend and they'd understand exactly how you feel.
This kind of real talk is key. When you share your struggles like that, you break the isolation the scroll loop causes. You make a connection even over text that feels meaningful.
That's why one part of the digital detachment technique is meaningful talk practice. Spending just 5 minutes a day talking honestly with a friend or family member about what really mattered that day can help untangle the mental fog.
And it works because it shifts your focus. Instead of endless passive scrolling, you engage actively with someone else sharing, listening, connecting. That social contact supports your real self beyond the screen's empty loop.
Plus, it reminds your brain what really matters, those small moments that bring value and purpose, like noticing a kind gesture, a quiet sunset, or even laughing over a funny story.
And combining that with setting a daily no screen time slot, say from 7 to 8 p.m., where you put your phone away and do something sensory like walking or journaling that helps you recharge your mind and body.
Absolutely. That hour of detaching from screens lets your brain rest and connect with your true self again. It's like breathing fresh air after being underwater too long.
But I get it at first, doing this can feel weird or uncomfortable. The phone's pull is strong. You might feel FOMO or just plain bored without constant information.
And that's normal. The discomfort shows your brain is adjusting, but over time, your mental energy improves, your anxiety lessens, and you're less dependent on that endless digital feed.
So, to sum up what we've talked about, the endless scrolling creates a loop trapping emotional and mental energy. It disturbs your brain's ability to recharge and disconnect, and it narrows your sense of self into just what fits on a screen.
Breaking that loop means learning to detach, gently separating yourself emotionally and physically from the screen, and to recharge with real-world experiences and real talk with people who matter.
And later, we'll share 5 words that perfectly describe all this and easy ways to use them in conversation.
But for now, try to notice your scrolling habits and how they make you feel physically and emotionally. Notice when you freeze staring at your screen or when your heart races chasing the next post. These clues help you understand the loop you want to break.
That awareness is the first step out of the digital fog and toward reconnecting with your true life meaning.
Noah, after all we discussed about the scrolling loop and detaching from screens, I think trying the digital detachment technique is a great way to reclaim your real life. Giving yourself no screen time each day and doing meaningful talks can truly help people recharge and reconnect.
I see where you're coming from, Sarah, but I have to disagree. In today's fast-paced world, completely detaching from digital life, even for an hour, can feel unrealistic. Many people rely on their phones for work, socializing, and even finding relief after stress.
That's a fair point, but the detachment we're talking about isn't about ignoring work or friends. It's about setting intentional limits to give our minds space. Without that, people just get trapped in an endless loop with no fresh air for their brain.
Still, isn't asking people to carve out no screen time putting pressure on them? Sometimes this advice can backfire, making people feel guilty if they can't do it. That may add more anxiety rather than reduce it.
That's why the technique is flexible. The no screen time slot can be just 15 minutes if that's all someone manages. No guilt involved. The goal is gentle progress, not perfection.
But what if people are missing the bigger point? Screens offer connection, entertainment, and information. Suggesting detachment might just isolate some people more, especially those who depend on online social spaces. Couldn't this advice do more harm?
I understand your worry, but meaningful talk practice actually combats isolation by encouraging real conversations. It's not about cutting all connections, just balancing online and offline interactions to support the authentic self.
Here's my concern. Not everyone has someone to do meaningful talk with. What about introverts or people whose relationships aren't that close? They might feel put on the spot or lonely, which could worsen feelings of emptiness.
That's a valid challenge, but even journaling or expressing thoughts aloud can act as a kind of meaning practice if real talk isn't available. Plus, building small trusted circles takes time, but can start with sharing just a little each day.
I see your point about journaling, but it doesn't completely replace human connection, does it? There's a social and emotional richness that screens can sometimes fulfill better than solitude. I worry recommending detachment overlooks that.
True, digital connections can be meaningful, but the key is awareness using screens intentionally rather than scrolling compulsively. Detachment isn't about disconnecting cold turkey. It's about choosing moments to recharge away from the noise.
So you're saying it's about balance, not total avoidance. But balance is so personal. For example, some people might feel more fulfilled engaging deeply online than going for a walk alone. Do you think the same approach works for everyone?
That's an important observation. One size never fits all. The technique offers a starting point, but everyone adapts it based on their own needs and contexts. The goal is to find what helps you revive your attention and reconnect with your core self.
Okay, I get that. Still skeptical about how realistic it is for many people to stick with this, especially when phones are integrated into nearly everything they do, from work tasks to social events. It's tough to unplug without feeling left behind.
Absolutely. Unplugging feels risky at first, but small steps add up, like turning off notifications during the no-screen hour or starting conversations about daily moments with a friend. These habits help shrink the digital loop's hold bit by bit.
I agree small changes matter. Yet some would argue that these solutions don't tackle the root cause, the design of apps and platforms engineered to hook users. Shouldn't the focus be on broader digital literacy or regulation instead?
That's a strong counterpoint. Regulation and education are definitely needed long-term. But meanwhile, Digital Detachment Technique gives individuals immediate tools to regain control, rather than waiting for external changes.
I guess it's a mix then. Personal strategies plus systemic changes. One without the other might not be enough to solve the problem.
Exactly. Personal detachment helps us build resilience and clarity, which also fuels collective action for bigger changes in how digital products are designed.
So maybe we're not so far apart. This technique isn't a magic fix, but a meaningful practice among many others to help break the scrolling loop and reclaim real life.
Spot on. It's about progress, not perfection, to invite more moments of calm, real talk, and recharging beyond the screen's endless loop.
And with that mindset, people might just find the courage to start small and feel a little more connected to themselves and others. Even if it's just 5 minutes a day.
Yes, because ultimately, breaking free from the digital trap starts with kindness to yourself, no harsh judgments, and a willingness to try something new. So far, we've uncovered how endless scrolling can trap us in a loop, and why gently detaching helps us recharge.
We've also debated the challenges like balancing screen time with real talk and finding what really works for each person.
Now, to help you talk about these ideas naturally, we'll share 5 key words you heard throughout today's episode.
These expressions will make it easier to describe your experience and connect with others honestly. Let's jump in.
Let's start with a word we all know too well: scroll. It means to move content up or down on a screen to see more. You know, like when you're endlessly going through Instagram or news feeds.
Oh yeah, and sometimes we don't even realize how much we scroll until we're like, wait, how did I end up here? That's the sneaky part, it feels automatic.
Exactly, and that's why being aware of your scrolling is key. Like noticing when you start just looking for a moment, but suddenly, you're still scrolling 30 minutes later.
Which leads us to detach. To detach means to separate or disconnect emotionally or physically. So when we say digital detachment, it means stepping away from your phone or screen, not just physically, but also mentally.
Right, and detaching doesn't mean ignoring your phone forever. It's about creating moments where you're not controlled by that constant urge to check notifications or keep scrolling. It's giving your brain a break.
That break lets you actually recharge. To recharge means regaining energy or focus after rest. Like when you take a quiet walk or do something that helps you feel refreshed and ready again.
I love that image, recharging like a battery. Our minds need that too. If we don't step away, the mental effort to keep up exhausts us and makes everything seem dull or overwhelming.
And this scroll detach recharge cycle is kind of the rhythm we want to find. Without detaching, you can't properly recharge, and without recharging, scrolling just keeps going. making you feel stuck in a loop.
The word loop here means a repeated sequence, something that happens over and over, often making you feel stuck or trapped, like a hamster wheel you can't jump off.
That hamster wheel image is so real. When you scroll at night, you might feel like you're breaking free, but really, you're in the same loop, chasing new posts that keep pulling you back.
And breaking that loop isn't easy because screens are designed to keep you hooked. But when you start to detach and recharge intentionally, the loop loses some of its power.
Now, here's a word that's super important in this whole conversation: real talk. When we say real talk, we mean honest and meaningful conversation. It's those moments when you share your true thoughts or feelings with someone who really listens.
Like in our earlier example, texting a friend honestly about feeling stuck scrolling. That kind of openness builds connection and helps untangle the mental fog the loop creates.
Real talk is like an antidote to the screen's noise. It grounds you in reality and reminds you that digital connections are valuable only when they're honest and meaningful.
So next time you feel yourself scrolling without thinking, try asking, am I really connecting or am I stuck in a loop? Then maybe detach for a moment and recharge with something real.
And if you're nervous about opening up, start small. Even a few minutes of real talk with someone you trust can make a huge difference.
Absolutely. Using these words scroll, detach, recharge, loop, and real talk helps you put feelings into words, and words help you understand your experience better and share it with others.
So, whether you're explaining why you need a break or checking in with a friend, these expressions give you tools to speak honestly about your digital habits.
And if you want to practice, try making sentences like, I'm feeling caught in a scroll loop, or I need to detach tonight and just recharge.
Or even just say, let's have some real talk. I've been stuck scrolling and it's exhausting.
That's perfect. The more you use these words naturally, the easier it becomes to face digital challenges head on instead of feeling overwhelmed.
It all comes down to balance, knowing when to scroll and when to stop, when to connect online and when to recharge offline.
And remember, breaking the scroll loop isn't about being perfect. It's about little moments of awareness and choosing real talk and rest whenever you can.
That's a habit anyone can build, one step at a time.
So these words aren't just vocabulary. They're your new helpers for navigating the digital world healthier and happier.
And the more you practice, the less trapped you'll feel in that endless scroll.
It's about taking control of your attention, the most precious resource you have, and using it to reconnect with what truly matters.
Exactly. That's what makes all the difference.
So, here we are at the end of today's episode. We've talked about how endless scrolling can trap us in a loop, making us lose touch with real life and ourselves.
We also explored how digital detachment, setting aside screen-free time and having real talk with someone, can help us recharge and break free from that loop.
If you want to start somewhere, here are a few practical tips. First, try setting a daily, no screen time slot. Even just 15 or 20 minutes can make a difference.
Second, practice meaningfully sharing your day with a friend, family member, or even write down your thoughts. Real talk doesn't have to be long or perfect, just honest.
Third, pay attention to your body and mind. Notice when your fingers freeze on the screen or when you feel drained from scrolling. Awareness is the first step toward change.
I remember when I started setting this time for myself. At first it felt strange, almost like missing out. But after a few days, I noticed I felt calmer and more connected to the people around me.
Same here. When I began having those short talks with close friends instead of scrolling, I realized how much richer those moments were. It slowly helped me feel more present.
We know change can be hard, but even tiny steps help. You don't need to overhaul your entire routine right away. Start small, be kind to yourself, and keep trying.
And remember, this is just the beginning of your journey. We're planning to dig deeper into managing digital distractions and building meaningful habits in future episodes.
Before you go, we want to hear from you. Tell us in the comments, what's one small way you plan to detach and recharge this week?
We read every comment and love hearing your stories. Thanks so much for listening with us today.
Stay kind to yourself, take those breaks, and we'll see you next time for more Everyday English.
Thanks for being here.